criminal docket for November 1st, 2022. All matters being heard today are being heard in accordance with all emergency orders and directives regarding COVID-19. In addition to that, we are streaming all matters live via YouTube for public viewing. Marufa, would you call our next case, please?
Because number 2022 0D00784, State of Texas versus Adrian Beltran. Announcement of council, please.
Samantha Rogg on behalf of the state. State's ready, Your Honor.
Israel Parra here on behalf of Adrian Beltran. We're ready, Your Honor.
And Mr. Beltran is appearing from the police center. Mr. Beltran, do you recognize your attorney, Mr. Parra?
Yes.
Okay, I'll just ask Mr. Beltran, sometimes it's a little hard to hear and I'm hearing some strange feedback and I'm not sure where it's coming from. If somebody has more than one device going, I'm not sure. I'm not seeing anybody else light up, but there is some strange background noise. So what that means, Mr. Beltran, is for everyone who's speaking, you're going to need to speak probably a little louder, okay, so we can hear you above any kind of background noise. And then if at any point you don't hear what we are saying, just let me know, wave your hand, say, Judge, I didn't get that. And I'll try and monitor the interruptions, okay? And we'll go back and repeat anything you don't catch. Not sure what it is. It's very strange. Okay. In any event, with that said, let's go ahead and get started. We're scheduled for a plea today, Mr. Beltran, and so that means I'm going to be asking you questions, so I need to swear you in. If you would, please raise your right hand. Sir, do you swear or affirm that any testimony you provide will be the truth and the whole truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, and I can hear you pretty good. If you'll put your hand down, please, and state your name and date of birth for the record.
Adrian Beltran, August 1, 1981.
Perfect. As I mentioned, we are scheduled for a plea. So there were documents you should have reviewed with your attorney, the first of which is marked State Exhibit number 1. No, Erica, you're not getting it?
I think it's you kind of going in and out. Sorry.
Let's try that again. Okay, so we're scheduled for a plea. Documents that you should have reviewed with your attorney, the first of which is marked as State's Exhibit number 1. Those are the plea papers in this case. Attached to State's Exhibit 1 are an additional 15 pages of supplemental admonitions and conditions for this type of offense. Do you recall reviewing State's Exhibit number 1 with your attorney and signing that document?
Yes, Your Honor.
And signing the additional 15 pages of additional admonitions? You recall that as well?
Yes, Your Honor.
And did you understand and or read everything contained within that document?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Parra, have you had more than 10 days to prepare a defense in this case?
We have, Your Honor.
And did you explain the plea papers to your client?
I did.
Do you believe he has understood the admonishments, rights, and consequences of giving up these rights by entering his plea today?
He understood, Judge.
Mr. Beltran, are you satisfied with your attorney's representation of you?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Parra, any reason to believe your client is not presently competent to enter his plea?
None at all.
Mr. Beltran, have you ever been found mentally incompetent by any court?
No, Your Honor.
Ever been examined by a doctor or
No.
psychiatrist who has found you mentally ill?
No, Your Honor.
So based on your testimony, your attorney's representations, and my observations of you, I'm going to find that you are competent to enter your plea. Sir, are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, Your Honor.
Where were you born?
In El Paso, Texas, Your Honor.
Okay. In this case, you're charged with 1 count of online solicitation of a minor by sexual conduct. That is a 2nd-degree felony. To that charge, sir, what is your plea? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty, Your Honor.
Are you making your plea freely and voluntarily?
Yes, Your Honor.
I will find you are making your plea freely and voluntarily. Ms. Rago, would you summarize the evidence?
Yes, Your Honor. State of Texas versus Adrian Beltran and cause number ending in 0784. If the state of Texas were to proceed to trial, the state would have proven beyond a reasonable doubt on or about the 8th day of April 2021 in El Paso County in the state of Texas. The defendant did then and there with the intent. Can you hear me, Erica, or no?
I mean, I can hear you. I know what you're saying. It's up to you, Judge, if you want to, I don't know, if you want to let it
So
go. but-
let me stop right there, Mr. Beltran. I think we're all hearing the feedback. I'm going to try muting your attorney for now and see if that helps, because I'm not really sure what it is. So, Mr. Parra, I'll just ask everybody except for the police center, if you'll please mute when you're not speaking, because I have no idea what this feedback is. I will ask though, Ms. Rago, that you go back and start from the beginning, summarizing the evidence.
Yes, Your Honor. Is this better also? Okay, maybe my headphones. State of Texas versus Adrian Beltran and cause number ending in 0748. If the state of Texas were to proceed to trial, the state would have proven beyond a reasonable doubt that on or about the 8th day of April 2021 in El Paso County in the state of Texas, the defendant, Adrian Beltran, did then and there with the intent that an undercover agent for Department of Homeland Security, hereafter styled as the complainant, a minor, would engage in sexual contact with the defendant, knowingly solicit over the internet and by text message the complainant to meet the defendant. The recommendation is underlying 10 years, probated for 10 years, straight probation, sex offender registration, no social media or messaging apps, no contact with any children not his own, UABA, curfew, and all other standard terms.
Mr. Potter, is this your understanding of the plea agreement?
It is, Your Honor. The only thing that I don't recall, and I don't know that I went over with him, was any contact with any children. I'm not sure if he's got relatives. And my client is a single man. He's not married, and so I don't know if his siblings have children that he has contact with. But that is something that I don't recall going over with him.
So the plea paperwork indicated, if memory serves, and Ms. Rago, you can correct me on this, it was no contact with children that were not his own. So that's what was on the plea paperwork. So if you need a minute to discuss that with him, I can tell you I'm not going to deviate from what is on the plea paperwork right now. I did have a question on whether or not I thought maybe there had been an understanding and he had children, but I'm not going to deviate from that condition.
No, I think that's fine, Judge. I don't think there's an issue with that.
Okay, did Mr. Beltran, are you understanding what the state is saying in terms of part of your conditions include no contact with any children that are not your own? If you need a minute to speak with your attorney, I can put you in a breakout room, but otherwise I'm going to go forward.
I understand, Your Honor.
Okay. So let me go back in that sense. Okay, Mr. Parra, then with that understanding, now is that your understanding of the plea agreement?
Yes, Judge.
And Mr. Beltran, with all of those conditions, is that your understanding as well?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and I can't remember, Ms. Rago, did you ask to admit exhibits?
Your Honor, can the state moves to enter into evidence States Exhibit 1 and 2 if there's no objections.
Okay. And I'm sorry, Mr. Potter, I muted you.
I have no objections, Judge.
Okay, states 1 and 2 are admitted. We have the plea agreement. Understand, Mr. Beltran, that the plea agreement is not binding on the court. However, if I were to reject it, I would allow you to withdraw your plea. If I follow the plea agreement, you may not appeal this case except on matters raised by written motion and ruled on before trial or by permission of the court. The next document I'm going to ask you about is a one-page document entitled The Trial Court Certification of Your Right to Appeal. It is a document that explains your appeal rights. Because this is a plea, bargained, or negotiated case, you do not have an automatic right of appeal. Mr. Beltran, do you recall reviewing the trial court certification with your attorney and signing that document?
Yes, Your Honor.
It was signed by your attorney and signed by the court as well. So on your plea of guilty and the evidence introduced, I will accept your plea, and at this time find the evidence substantiates your guilt. I will find you guilty of online solicitation of a minor by sexual conduct, and I will sentence you according to the plea agreement at 10 years confinement in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice Institutional Division. That will be suspended for a period of 10 years of community supervision. There will be registration and treatment conditions. You are to have no contact with children, no social media or any type of apps, either on any kind of computer or mobile device. You will allow inspection by probation without notice. Urine and breath analysis, curfew. I'm trying to see, because I'm reading my chicken scratch. Did I get all the conditions? I didn't see a fine. I didn't list the fine. Was there a fine, Ms. Rago?
Let me double check. I'm sorry, Judge.
That's okay. Let me look.
I believe there was, Judge. I believe it was $2,000.
2,000, Your Honor, and then 300 hours of community service. That may have been missed.
How much was the community service?
300, Your Honor.
Okay, so 300 hours community service, and then it was a $2,000 fine. Was any of that probated?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Parra, were you retained or appointed?
I was retained, Judge.
Okay, so the fine will remain the same. What I'll say with these conditions is that if Mr. Beltran, you must adhere to all of these conditions of your probation strictly. But if there is any condition for which you need to make a request and ask the court to deviate, then you need to do that in proper form, which would be to go through your probation officer, then they reach out to me and we go from there. Please do not do anything kind of on your own decision-making, because that's how folks get in trouble, okay?
Okay.
All righty. Anything else?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
Nothing from the defense, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Parra. Have a good day. Good luck to you, Mr. Beltran.
Thank you.